I want to go and hunt for the Mayan Warrior. I,
Well, how was it? So how was Burning Man this year?
I always like it. It's a time where I can just spend some time with my wife and as well some friends, and it's just a big party,
Yeah.
right? And I feel that it's just there's a lot of connection with different people. We know already multiple burners in different camps, so we
Mhm.
stop by and shout out to Child Lounge. That's one of those, right? So you can go and meditate, and they're very very good people in a lot of places. I
Cool.
did
How
feel. Go ahead.
how long was it? How long is it? Maybe for those that aren't familiar with Burning Man, maybe you give us a little bit of a summary of kind of how long it is, where is it at, stuff like that.
Yeah, so basically the event happens on, they call this Black Rock City, but it's just the event, it creates a city. It is about maybe, if there is no traffic, maybe 3 hours away from Reno. That's the closest airport. Some people, they keep just driving from different places of United States. We usually, because we have already everything in a container,
Hmm.
we have a friend that he's our camp lead. You know him, Lee. Shout out to
Hmm.
Lee.
Big Lee.
Yep.
Well, actually, there's another Big Lee, but yeah, this is normally.
This is normally. um, so he kind of started the camp maybe I'll say maybe 10 years ago, something like that. And then it has been growing. It used to be James and Lee, and then it started just getting bigger and bigger. And now I think that we this year we almost were like almost 50 people. So and basically what we do is that some people they fly some to Reno and they drive. Some other people they just drive from Texas to Nevada, and then you start building kind of a structure, because we what we do is that we build kind of a shade, so in that way it's not just your tent, because it's literally almost like camping. You're camping on the on the
Mm.
desert in the middle of nowhere, right? So it's basically nature, but it's kind of very harsh. There is like sandstorms, there is like the heat waves, right? Last year it was very hard because it rained. It usually
Mm.
doesn't rain. It hasn't rained like, I don't know, 20 years. It just drizzles a little bit. But yeah, that year it just poured some rain. So
I
that
think
was
we
very tough.
remember seeing all the news outlets last year. We're talking about this big mud. It was all this mud, all this rain. People were getting stuck. They couldn't get out. There was no food. Like it was like a big thing in the news last year. This year we didn't really see any of that, right? So I guess it was a
No,
lot better.
it was a lot better. But I feel that this year there was only about 70,000 people. I feel that there was like maybe less, like 10,000 people less than from last year.
Hmm.
I'm thinking that maybe last year was very brutal for a lot of people. And they
Yeah.
say, you know what, I'm not coming to this.
Well, a lot of tech bros tend to go to this too, right? And I know they've been hit a lot by the economy with layoffs and things like that. So
It,
maybe that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, and it's not cheap. That's the other thing, right? Like the event, the ticket is almost $500. But that's not the problem. The problem is you have to buy all of your gear, right? You have to buy all of the your tent and so on, right? And yeah, you can find some cheap stuff, right? But it's just it adds up. If you don't have a ride, you have to get a car or the bus to be able to take you there. So it can get pricey.
Yeah. Well, it's a few grand per person, you think?
Yeah, yeah. So maybe average maybe 2,500 bucks, but maybe some people they and again you can use you have like Paris Hilton, Elon Musk, all of these celebrities that they like they have their RVs and everything,
Mhm.
so they can go way higher than that.
Did you see your buddy Elon out there this year?
Not this time, man.
Oh,
Not this
okay.
time.
Give him a high five. Yeah, Cybertruck.
Cybertruck, you did a good job. Something interesting that happened this year, though, and maybe you'll start seeing it in social media. It's funny because we were about 30 people before, and suddenly Lee got this question from these Ukrainians. It's like,
Mm,
hey, could you host us? We gonna do an art in Burning Man. And
mm,
Lee's like, oh, sure, whatever, right? We have an application, very very kind of trying to understand the type of people, so in that way if they match with our
mhm.
camp or not. Long story short, they were there,
Okay.
And I didn't know
They
how
like doubled your camp size.
basically, at least for this year. Not sure if they're gonna come. Some actually they were from Ukrainian, right? So Ukraine. So but yeah, they created this art piece called "I Am Fine," and it's just letters. And they were saying, yeah, yes, because I got there one day later. So basically, it's one week,
Mhm.
and people start just going in, and but you have to have like an early pass if you're building some art or something. They call them WAPs, so basically early access, and some people go maybe 2 weeks. It's just
Okay.
amazing how they built all of this infrastructure and art designs in just 2 weeks, and at the end they burn it.
So did the I'm fine structure also get burned?
No, that one, no, which is like they have to disassemble because it
Oh
cannot
man,
be burned. It's like
even more
metal.
work. Yeah.
And maybe I'll when we are editing, our producer Katie, maybe we can add some images of the structure because it's very emotional. Whether you are pro Ukraine or whatever, right? That's not the point. The point is just how different representations. But um, they have they brought these structures of artifacts from the war, so you can see like pieces of metal just getting shoot, like pieces of a door, or maybe signs that they are just like from explosions or whatever. They were able to get all of that from Ukraine, and they built the letters, and it was pretty big. I didn't.
Mm.
Sometimes they were telling me, yeah, yeah, these guys are making the art design, and sometimes our art I have seen that at a small scale, right? So like was
Mm.
it, yeah, yeah, whatever. But when I went and see, it, like, holy shit,
It was big.
it
How big
was.
was each letter?
I cannot
Like person
tell
size?
you. It's more, way more than
Like
that. Like maybe,
two
yeah,
people?
maybe three or four people, even bigger than
Oh
that.
wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
huge.
yeah,
Okay, that's
and
really big.
yes, yes. So it's really, really big. And when you are doing something that big, because there is wind, the wind will like knock it over.
Hmm.
They have to build kind of like legs, and they have
Hmm.
to drill on the dirt to make sure that with machines you cannot do it like by hand.
Yeah.
So
So is that whole I'm fine? Does that have to do with like there's a meme out there where there's that dog that's like everything's burning around it? You know what I'm talking about?
yes, I do. And in fact, I was very curious because I was thinking, I mean, one of the things that we're doing with this podcast is to try to get awareness, right, for Hispanics and tech and all of that. I was thinking, man, they inspire me. So shout out to all of the Ukrainians because they truly inspire me, this burn, to to be out there and create art, right? We are doing in
Yeah.
this spot. But I did
I
ask
heard
three
we even have Tex-Mex fans out there in Tech-Mex
exactly.
fans out in Ukraine, right?
So as I was talking to the Ukrainians, it's like, yeah, yeah, I really enjoy your podcast, Mando. Like, huh? It was completely random because how this Ukrainian? We are worldwide, baby.
Worldwide, baby.
So this Ukrainian is basically he knows. I was trying to figure out how did he knew about the podcast, and we have
Hmm.
a friend in common that probably he just like told him, hey, this guy is doing a podcast, and he was very interested because we were talking about Bitcoin, we were talking about wealth, and he knew multiple episodes.
Hmm.
So it's like that was the interesting thing. Also, he said that he once he did a short, and he just hit 1 million
Oh wow.
views. So it's like I was like, maybe I need to get like some lessons
Yeah,
from
let's
him.
get some pointers.
I asked him, but unfortunately, he didn't know how he did it. Like, I
Uh-huh.
don't know, I just did, and he just blew up.
Yeah.
Anyways, going back to the Ukrainians, I asked, how do you guys put together all of this huge like art? And basically, what they said is that they have like a group of two or three, kind of like they are designers, right? Like the idea, like the founders. Let's call them founders,
Hmm.
and they were trying to figure out that idea. And yes, you're right. One of the things that they told me is like if we want to build something like that, we it's better if you tap into something that is viral already.
Ah, yeah.
And guess what?
Social media, right? Hmm.
Memes are viral, right? By
Yeah.
design. So they grab that, and then it's also when people are calling their families over there, hey, how you doing? Usually they say, I'm fine.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
So the,
that's pretty cool then. So they're sending a message out to other burners out there. Hey, we're the Ukrainians. Yes, we're fine.
yes,
That's
so
good.
it was very good. A lot of people really like it. You start riding your bikes. That's the modus operandi over there. That's how you
Mm,
move around, and that it was very far. Like because sometimes the best structures are the ones that they are like dark, dark, dark everywhere because the light shines so much and it creates a different atmosphere. So yeah, this one is it was very in the back,
okay,
and
so the art structures aren't near your camp necessarily. They're in a different area.
for people that don't know, it's like a half moon, and it actually the addresses they are like a clock.
Mm,
So 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. It doesn't close the whole loop. I think that that's the idea. In some point, when there's a lot of people, it might close the whole circle. But
hmm.
so far, I have never been in the event that it closes. It usually starts maybe 2 to 9.
Hmm.
That's how, and then it has letters. The first line is A, B, C, and so on, right? So
Okay,
up to
so
up to
that's how you
K.
get around without getting lost, hopefully, because it's
So
pretty big area, right?
it is. It's just miles and miles, and you have to like bike around. So then the in the center of the circle, you have these sculptures, and some of them they are like wow, they're like pieces of art. You have the best artists going and trying to showcase their work. Then in the center, kind of in the center, you have the man, and by you have the kind of the Burning Man, and you have
Hmm.
also the temple. The temple is a very is not religious, but we call it the temple. Is just to remember basically kind of things that die basically, like your some relatives, some friends, and it's a very different feeling because you are like partying basically, and suddenly when you get into the temple, everybody's just respectful and just quiet, and a lot of people start just crying because it's just the emotions there. It's massive, right? So you start seeing they draw. It's like, hey, grandma, I miss you, I love you, wherever you are, right? Or some people they're like, hey, I resigned to be an engineer, like engineering is dead to me, right?
Hmm.
Like whatever you want to kind of remember or leave behind, you can already there, and you see the whole temple just like full with those messages.
Wow. Well, that sounds pretty intense, pretty cool. I guess that's a big reason why a lot of burners like to go there, just because there's such a wide gamut of feelings that you get when you get there. Of course, there's kind of this party atmosphere, but there's also this deep in where you're looking inside of yourself and kind of releasing your most inner thoughts and secrets and things like that. So it seems pretty intense out there. And so you hear a lot of stories out there also. Actually, I heard that there was someone that got hurt. They fell off some kind of art installation. Did you see anything about that?
Yeah, it's you're in the middle of the desert, and you're building this. Something happens, right? Somebody and sometimes some people they just take drugs, right? And it's like they're like hallucinating in the middle. So you see different accidents all across. So but it's very minor. Like with the amount of people, probably you have also accidents in a stadium. Like
Hmm.
I feel that it's just the numbers game that you'll see some accidents like that. You know what? It was a little bit more surprising to me. It has been every time that I go, I notice this. There's not a lot of Hispanics though,
Mm.
nor people of color. Like, and that's I would expect at an event like that to see at least I don't know the numbers that we see outside, right? Like 10%,
Hmm.
20%. Uh, but no,
It's pretty interesting. Is Do you think it's purely like a money thing, or is it like a different type of culture?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. If it is basically exactly, it's like because maybe money or this is just not their cup of tea, right? There are a couple things that they are from Latin America, like even Mexico, like the Mayan Warrior. It's
Hmm.
it's an art card, man. That thing is like people were like, I want to go and hunt for the Mayan Warrior because it has a bunch of lasers and
Hmm.
speakers and punches, punches, punches.
So the Mexican or Mayan ethos, people love it, right? So you would expect to see maybe more of that type of support there. That's interesting.
Yes, and I'm still trying to figure out why. Why is that? Because again, a lot of the people, if you ask a burner, if you know the Mayan Warrior, right? Like yes, and they can describe what it is, right? So
Hmm.
it is well known. So yeah, it's not that they are not welcome. I mean, it's one of the principles of the event, right? When you go to the event, they have
Hmm.
these sets of principles. I recommend if somebody is interested to go to the webpage and you'll see kind of the uh, those ideas, which are almost I feel that they are like almost a utopia. There's no money, by the way, in the event, so everything is just by matter of exchange and how if you can connect with people, all right? Like hey, like
Hmm.
you are thirsty and you only have your cup and you just go with the strangers, like hey man, can you just give me some water? And in some cases they will tell you GTFO, right? Or
Yeah.
some other counts they will tell you, well, I only can have alcohol, right? So, but when you're thirsty, probably you're looking for more.
Free vodka if you want it.
Like if you're Ukrainian, probably, but if I'm Mexican, tequila, baby.
Tequila. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I recommend anyone that wants to go or is curious. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to be fit a little bit because you have to bike
That's what I
everywhere, right?
hear. There's long distances between everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there are many ways. There's a lot of information out there.
Hmm. All right. Well, sounds good. I mean, maybe one of these years I'll get brave enough to go. You never know. But at least I know the. Is it still called Cat Camp?
Yes,
Okay.
it's still there. So yeah, you can come with us. You have your spot in the floor.
Okay. As long as someone's making tacos, I think you'll be all right.
Dude, you miss my pastor tacos in
Oh
the
yeah.
playa.
Oh, fancy.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Hey, so I want to remind y'all to like, subscribe, and comment. You know, we do love to hear from you. Hopefully, you enjoyed the stories we brought to y'all today. If you haven't watched our viral Bitcoin videos, check them out. The price is going to explode here any day now. Not financial advisors, but that's all we've got for today. Dale.
Dale.